Okay guys, do you want to successfully find elk like this guy? Follow along. This is the second episode in our series, a Foundation Elk series, and we're teaching you our ways of finding elk. We've done pretty good the last couple years, and we're trying to pass this on to you guys so you guys can get out there and get into more elk. Now, if you haven't seen the first episode, click here, go back, get that episode, look it over, and then fill out your sheet. There's a worksheet that goes along with it. You can get that worksheet at thelifeoutdoors.com, and I'll post a link right here, thelifeoutdoors.com. You have to sign up to be a member to get the sheet, but that's all right. There's a lot of cool stuff over there. There's a forum and some other things, so you can actually throughout this whole series, if you have any questions, you can leave your questions in the forum over there, or you can leave them at the bottom of this video. We were going to make this a single video, but the problem is I'm going to have to show you how I use BaseMap, which is the software program I use. And what I'm going to do is I'll do a screen recording with a voiceover, and I'll show you how to use BaseMap today. I'm going to just show you the different features because it has so many features. The Pro model of BaseMap has so many features, and that's what I use to start getting my worksheets down. Now I'm going to upload a scouting worksheet on the next video, and you're going to be able to use that worksheet to be able to come into this program and to start finding your areas that you're going to put the feet on the ground, and that will be the video after that. And then we will do a gear video. I know guys have been asking about a gear video, but we will do a gear video down the road. So follow along, check this out. If you haven't watched that video, go back, get that sheet, and you'll see why it's so important. You'll see why that sheet is so important to get your mind straight on what you want to do. Because when we go into this, when we start really looking for the elk numbers and we start really looking for the elk, you're going to need to, there's so much information here, you got to be able to focus that information. Okay, so this is the software I use for my desktop and on my smartphone. But I wanted to let you know about this app, and if you want to get your own, and I'm going to something that I really want to show you is the pricing on this thing. So the amount of stuff that you could get in here for the amount of money it is crazy. It's got all 50 states, 3D maps. Just look at all the stuff that it has, and you could get it for $29 a year, or you could do it per month. You know, doing it per month, some people do that because they only get it for hunting season. But if you're like me, you're on this thing looking at it constantly. If you want your own version of this, you just you have to buy it online here to get this special promo. But BaseMap said, hey, since you use our software and you're going to show it in your video on how you use it, we would like to help you out, help your listeners or your viewers out, and give them 25% off. So all you have to do is order it. So you can go down here, push continue, and then go and fill out all this stuff. And then once you do that, it'll ask you if at checkout it'll ask you for a code and you put in TLO25, and that's the Life Outdoors for that's for the Life Outdoors, TLO25. And you'll see why that, the form that I had you download so you could focus on how you want to hunt. Now you can use this software. I use Google Earth too, because Google Earth has a really cool 3D feature. But I use this and Google Earth, and I'll show you guys in our next video exactly how we tune in on that and how we get 10 spots. And I also have a form for that'll lead you through your research, and that'll give you something to continue to move towards. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal, because that's what will keep you going when you're not finding elk. Is if you have an objective and you have 10 spots, that'll keep you busy, that'll keep you in the game, and that's what it takes to kill an elk. So I'm not going to show you where the elk are, how to find the elk with this app right now. I'm just going to show you how to navigate through this app, because it's so intense. And the next video coming out is going to actually get it defined down to how to use this to find those places. But you need to be able to navigate through here, and I want you guys to be able to navigate this app, because when I go through, it's going to be pretty intense when we're looking at stuff and turning things on, turning things off. So for the guys that are out working and don't have a bunch of time to put their time down on the ground, because if you're not concentrating with this, you could do this at home while you're watching TV or whatever, and then you could spend your valuable time out scouting with your feet on the ground, scouting good spots. And I'll tell you what, it sure has helped us a bunch over the years. So let me just go through. This is your search bar on this side. So I'm going to go through the app and tell you kind of what this is all about. I'm going to turn that off right now and tell you what this is all about and how this app works. Now, you guys probably noticed that this is Oregon right here, and I got a bunch of stuff turned on already in my map layers, and you guys can see them all. It's kind of gets a little bit cluttered, if you don't know what you're looking at. But after you've used this for a while, it gets really easy to see what you're looking at. Okay, don't get scared because it looks a little cluttered right now. You guys will be able to do this just fine. Okay, so the first thing that I want to show you is you got your this is your work bar. I don't know what they call it. So some of these things I'm going to have my own name for them. The reason I call this my work bar is because I could do a lot of things from this bar. So let's say I want to add a marker. Now I got a marker, and if I want to place my marker there, I could place it right there, and it's got it placed right there, and then I could fill in all my information about that. There's all sorts of things I could do. I could make all of these different maybe there's a cabin there, a boat, or whatever, blood, all those things. So you could do, you want to draw a line, you could draw a line to keep that. So you could draw lines, you could draw shapes. I use shapes or circles. I'll circle a spot, say that place looks good, so I'll circle it and undo that. So you can do all that stuff in here. Tree stands, your circles, that's all out here still. Tools, and so you can adjust like your lines, your polygon. You can adjust all that if you don't want it with your tool settings. So that's your kind of your small toolbar up there, the stuff that you regularly use. And then on the side here, you could search areas. Hirschberger Mountain, Oregon. Let's go take a look at that. Look at there. Now, see, somebody had added a landmark up there, or a picture of it. So that is the lookout on top of Hirschberger, and there it came up on my map. Now you could put your own in here. You could even get directions to it, and it's taking you Google Maps to do that. Go back. Okay, so we'll exit out of there. So it leaves us there at Hirschberger, and then you can look around all of what's going on in there. Again, you have your toolbar down here. Some people like to use this side. They just want to use everything. Now layers. This is a very important section. Your layers do a lot of different things. So you have your base map. This is your base maps. I know it's base map, but so you can go to all sorts of different imagery here. So right now I have it on Google Topo, and so it puts topo lines over the satellite imagery. You go straight satellite, so then you got the straight satellite imagery. And the thing about BaseMap that's so nice is this satellite imagery is so good that it's very high def. And you see it kind of turning green. That's because I have my other layer on, which is the government lands layer. So if you want to see what layers are on, all you got to do is go there, and it'll show you every layer that I have turned on. Okay, and you can turn those off. I don't know why I have Montana's big game thing open, or National Wide Lakes. I don't really need that one on either. The roads I do keep on all the time. Wildlife management for Montana, I don't care. I'm going to turn all these off. That way you guys can see what's going on here. We'll turn the roads, we'll turn all this stuff off. So now on my layers, I just have Oregon. And if you look at it, it's pretty cool because you can just go through, and I like to do this. This is how I like to start. And when we do this, you guys, when I show you how I scout, how I do my digital scouting on here, I'll show you how I start and where I go and how I find areas that I know that there's going to be elk in. It's really tempting for me not to tell you how to do it right now, but so let's go back over to somewhere where I like a little bit more. This is kind of where I live. See all that in there? They've been logging a lot up here. This is and one thing that you got to understand is these are Google satellite images, so they update as soon as Google updates, which is a cool deal. That's very cool when you really think about it. Okay, so let's go back into layers. So we have it on satellite. One of the things that I like to do a lot of times, and I like their topo. Their topo map pretty good. Let's see if we come on. Okay, their topo map's pretty good. You could zoom into places, and then if you look at it, that's pretty good topo map. We're going to go back to Google High Res. We'll go back to that, and then I'm going to go down here. Okay, now one of the things that when we're doing now, this is the only with the Pro model, is we go down to the hunting section, and you can go into hunting research, and now you can research in Oregon forecast. So we click on Oregon. Now let's take a look at Rocky Mountain elk, and this will give us a forecast. And if you click on it, it'll tell you that this is the forecast for Oregon. So the green areas are better areas. So they say that this is the Pacific Crest Trail right there. No, that's not the Pacific Crest. The Pacific Crest is up here, but this is where they say all the Rocky Mountain are. So yellow means that it's not as good of an elk area, according to Eastman, okay, as the greens, and the blues are even better. So when you start looking at these at the elk areas, that's a good place to start. If you don't know the state, you can start looking there. That's what they put those there for, which is not a bad deal. You hit the Eastman research, and that is what opened up this. Okay, now we want to see the units, and then we could take the state. Now we could go by, and we're going to go Rocky Mountain, since we'll stay on the same. Outline that. See how it turned green when it outlined? Now that starts showing us all of the units. Now the cool thing is, see when I brought up that, now that brings up all of the data that state has for that unit. And this is going to be big when we do our next scouting section here. But if you look, you could go in here, say you want to go bow hunting. So this is the filter. We want to do archery only. And any sex, you could probably have to do bull on most of these, because see now it's showing bulls, and then hunt type, over the counter, okay, and then all dates. Okay, so when you look at, actually that's bull only. Why don't we do either sex, and then that'll bring up all of them. Okay, now what you can do is see all these units. Now when you're looking at, you're trying to get your tags. Before you put in for your tags or any of that kind of stuff. Right now, this is over the counter. Are these units? Let's go hunt unit. Let's go down to 74, and that is juniper, right? Or we go unit Hawaii. So this shows all of the data for that unit. So there's an over the counter archery tag, and it's either sex, and it's August 29th to September 27th. That's the date for 2020. This will upload for 2021, and it'll be pretty close to the same. Now, if you look at the harvest data, this is pretty interesting because now you can start seeing how many hunters were in that whole unit. So there were 35 hunters in 2019 in that whole unit. Average days hunted. There was a long time that they hunted. Now let's look at harvest success. 11%. You could go up here. Now my recorder's kind of in the way right here. Normally this will say the unit, and you just go down, and so say you want to look at Paulina. So it'll bring up all Paulina's data there, and you go season dates, and it shows, so our filter up here shows this is the only over-the-counter tag that's in that unit, and that's bow. And it shows the date. Now this will be updated here pretty quick as soon as ODFW updates the date in their database. So this is important stuff when you start looking at going around and looking at places that you want to hunt. So that shows you how to kind of navigate this thing. One of the things that this does, if you have your GPS turned on, that'll take you to where you are. This is your GPS. This you could just add and subtract, and you do that all the time. These are all of your favorite places. You can add favorite locations. So like say you like a certain area, you just zoom in here. This is awesome. Look at that. That looks like elk country. So I'm going to favorite that. Now it's generating that, and then you can name it, and then you can actually save that location. Then you can send it to your buddies and all that. So that's what the layers system is good for. You guys, you want to be able to use this real well. Now you can go to your friends menu and notice you got all of your friends. You can find contacts, and you can actually share stuff with them. Import and export. So these are where you would import your files. Say you switch from a different software and you want to save all your waypoints. Well, you just import them right here, and they will show up on here. Now, a lot of times they don't show up exactly the same, or upload a file. A lot of times they don't show up exactly the same as your ones off your other software, because they're different waypoint colors and stuff. But that's how you basically get around this software, guys. I hope that helped you, and I hope that you guys will want to follow along on our next one, because I'm going to show you exactly how we look into this stuff. We'll look around. I'll show you guys exactly how I use this app in our next video, and we'll actually get to where we're scouting for elk in the next video. And this is probably the biggest piece of elk gear that I would suggest. If you're going to buy anything new for elk hunting, I would buy this, because this is probably the thing that's helped my elk hunting grow faster, more than anything else that I've bought in the last 20 years. So if you guys can, if you haven't checked out our first video, go back, check it out, and that will get you guys focused on this stuff. And then like and subscribe and hit that little bell, because that bell, once you hit it, it'll tell you when the next video is coming up. All right, hopefully this is helping you guys. Take care. Good hunting.